All right, we are back to day two of the Ledbetter Classics here in Santa Barbara. Today is a on-time start at 1 o'clock and definitely some light air, but hopefully picking up throughout the day. So this is race one of the day, and it looks like we're about 10 seconds to the start or so. Yeah, Will Sear there pumping, almost falling off foil, which is definitely an indicator for how light it is. I think everyone's on 21 meters here, and I don't believe there's a ton of people that made it out. I mean, you can see kites in the foreground that are struggling to get on foil, but we are off, and this is race one. So here we go. Looks like Evan Heffernan, classic boat end start, followed by Marcus and that yellow kite there.
Yeah, Evan's looking really good out here in that black kite. That looks like Noah and down in that pin end. Really nice pin end start. And like we saw yesterday, the left early in the day when it's still kind of cloudy, the left seems to be doing okay, even though we are in classic Santa Barbara.
Yeah, but it does look like a lot of the top guys are tacking out here, but you can see Will pumping for his life to stay on the foil to get out of that left-hand side. But we're sticking to this left group over here, which is Gal in the black, Ryan in the orange, and then Noah Zitraire on that black kite on the far side. But we're back to Evan Heffernan coming straight at the camera.
Yeah, that looks like Evan on the left with the blue kite, and that I'm not sure if that is Will on that fly server, but they are coming right into the beach, hoping for that righty, probably hoping to find a little bit of shift in that land by the break wall.
Yeah, so panning back here, we can see that right group kind of tacking back, or that yellow kite of Marcus Edegren tacking back. And this, I believe this is Gal coming back across, and we'll see how they fare. But at the moment, it looks like that right-hand group is faring pretty well.
There, Evan goes for a tack pumping out of it, which definitely means that they're a little bit underpowered even on those big kites. So looking light here, and we'll see who comes across here. That left is looking good, but it's hard to tell from this angle.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we got a spectator boat in the way for Ryan Satterberg over there, but
here comes Evan. There's Marcus on that yellow kite just lured. They're definitely crossing from the right side. It looks like a kite is in the water. Marcus might have had to crack off a little bit to avoid that. You know it's light when kites are not coming out of the water that easily. But Evan and Marcus leading this first race, kind of trying to pull everything out of those big kites, getting all the power, and not trying to press too hard and press through that power, just like keeping that balance just right.
Yeah, and Marcus is the day one leader, so it looks like he's having a strong showing from race one as well. See if he can hold on to it here. But it looks like they're getting close to the top mark here. Nice close-up of Evan. Yep, there's the top mark.
Yeah, Evan is actually overall leading after day one. Marcus had a few deep races, even though he won the final two. So Evan leading into the day and leading this race by quite a big margin. So looking good for him. He's going to go for a jibe right away, maybe wanting to get back into that pressure inside. And then Marcus again coming right at us. See if he follows Evan or continues straight, looking for a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky with the light air or with kites in general, but the jibe set doesn't really work. You want to bill your apparent and then go for that jibe again. But this looks like the maybe 6th or 7th place, but panning back for the top two, which got a huge lead from hitting that nice ley line. It looked like, I believe, Kai Calder on that orange kite at the top mark having to do a double tack, which is really costly.
Yeah, here's Evan definitely extending his lead now. Looking like he is headed right at that gate. Might have to do one more jibe, might be on ley line. And then Marcus just went a little bit farther than Evan, maybe trying to find something on that outside of the course.
Yeah, definitely not on lay there. It looks like Evan's jibing back, and we have looks like 3rd and 4th closing in a little bit.
But yeah, this could be Kai Calder in that orange kite in 3rd, and that looks like Noah in the black kite to the left of the screen. Looks like they're bringing up 3rd and 4th. They're not that far behind here.
Yeah, but Evan has a huge lead. Here's Ryan Satterberg.
It looks like Ryan is probably bringing up about 5th, and that was Will Sear right to the right of him. So they are all really tight. We'll see how this bottom gate rounding, see who comes out of it the best.
Yeah, but Evan's doing this double jibe, trying to get to this left-hand gate so he can hit the right on the next upwind which is definitely the double jive's pretty costly, but that's the way he wants to play it. And really light, you can tell when they don't bring their kites up, they can just push through it. That we're in some light air.
Yeah, and there's a split there. We see Marcus rounding that right gate, trying to get a split with Evan. Means he's not comfortable in that second spot. He's still pushing forward, looking forward, hoping that left will pay. Evan definitely confident where he's going to, leading the race and being okay with Marcus splitting with him. So we'll see if he comes back and tries to cover or just is confident in his own choice.
Yeah, and Kai Calder making some nice moves on that orange kite, bringing up third place. But definitely some big gains from the first top mark round into that leeward mark rounding. But
yeah. When these kiters are kiting with the big kites, they take a very long time to turn compared to the small kites, and you can see Marcus in that tack, very slow, long turn, and then it looked like he kind of bogged down a little bit, pumping a little bit to get on the foil again. So even though that they're up foiling, that doesn't mean that they're fully powered. They still want to bring that bout and get that apparent wind up before they can come back to their angle.
Yeah, but it looks like Evan big gains again on that right-hand side. So it definitely looks like Classic Santa Barbara. Looks like Wright's pretty favored, and Evan sailing his own race and going the way he wants to go. But it is not on ley line, so it looks like he's going to come over, consolidate, and cover this right-hand side.
Yeah, I like that move by Evan. He feels the right is working really well, and he's willing to protect it. So he's protecting the right again, knowing he's not on ley line and going back for more.
Yeah, and definitely less seaweed at the moment than yesterday. You can see on the drone not many big patches, or at least no big patches. There might be some small stragglers in the water, but seems to be some good racing so far here. And a close-up of Evan Heffernan here, just ripping up wind in 0 knots with his little first place armband. You can see on his right arm there.
Yeah, he looking powered and looking like he's going full speed. Marcus did look a little bit underpowered out of that tack, but Evan doesn't seem to be showing that much. I actually think Marcus is on a 19-meter kite, while Evan's on a 21-meter kite, and that small 2 meters could be making the difference here, as Evan's looking very powered and very fast right now.
Yeah, you can see that wingtip just poke every once in a while.
There he goes, releasing that downhaul, trying to get full power as he rounds that top mark. Now he's very straight. You can see that body straight up and down, trying to get all the power right into the board, right into the foil. Looking like a comfortable lead here as Marcus is rounding in second.
But, this is the jibe set we were just talking about, but it looks like Marcus pulled off pretty smoothly. But definitely you can see we'll see, but if usually you struggle with a little bit of power out of it pretty early, but that right-hand side seemed to be really favored and trying to make the most of it or catch up a little bit.
Here we have Ryan Satterberg with that blue kite in the orange jersey, and we're back to Evan here, but Ryan Satterberg bringing up that 4th place, which is going to be a great result for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is it's funny how in kiting upwind and downwind looks so similar because we're going downwind here and he looks almost in the same position as he was on that upwind. But this is Gal and Hantos, I believe, probably in 6th and 7th or 5th and 6th or something like that.
Yeah, hard to tell whether that's Gal or Noah. They both have the white helmets and the black ozones. But yeah, it looks like that was Hantos coming around 6th or 7th there. Yeah. There's a jibe from Evan, looking probably just to do one more jibe before hitting the finish line.
Yeah, nice lead for Evan there. This should be a cakewalk to the finish, but we never know with kite racing, so. Pan back to Marcus here for a second, maybe. But this should be a pretty steady.
Yeah, Evan's not going to want to be pushing too hard. He has that lead. He doesn't want to risk anything. Definitely a little bit easier to see the kelp in the water when you're not full speed. So we'll see if he's still pushing full on or kind of taking it easy here.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between pushing to 100% or pushing at 80 or 90%. Definitely going to try to risk sometimes and push for that 100%. But right now, I think all these guys are just kind of cruising to the finish.
Even though Kai right there kind of wasn't up in the top from that first leg, he definitely didn't lose any distance on Marcus that second lap. So he's looking like even with a third there, he's going to be definitely a contender today.
Yeah. Yeah, and looks like Noah. Is that
That's
correct?
Ryan Setterberg right
Ryan.
there in that blue kite, pumping all the way to that ley line. He's in fourth right now, and it looks like Will Sear in fifth. Not going to be a great result for Will here, but if Evan can stay in front of Will, that'll feel good for Ryan.
Yeah, it's an awesome result for Ryan, and we'll be back for a little bit for race 2 of day 2.
All right, race 2, looking like about under 20 seconds here of the second day of the Ledbetter Classic. Just coming off a great win from Evan, and look at like a few kiters at the pin here. Ooh, they're touching down. Not looking like they're going to make that.
Yeah, definitely the whole fleet is pretty early here. You can see them trying to slow down and not cross the line early. It is if you're over early, you're pretty much just pretty much you're done because it's pretty hard to get back, and I believe it's a U flag start. But you can see Marcus Edegren out on that yellow kite doing that port tack start, ducking everybody, which is definitely tricky on kites, but with this lighter air and everyone being a little early seemed to work out really well for him. But we also see Evan Heffernan on that blue kite having a really nice start at the boat and really punched on everyone else.
Yeah, Evan's looking definitely good off that boat end start. Seems like everybody kind of got congested up at that pin end and wasn't really full speed, but that fly server, that green fly server at the pin is looking going off well too. Looks like there goes Ryan Setterberg for attack, and this looks like Will Sear going for attack.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the fleet learned from race number 1, and there's definitely a lot more people trying to get out to that right-hand side. You can see that yellow kite of Marcus over on that right side looking really good after that port tack start.
Yeah, I mean, starting on port and going to the right, it's just one less maneuver, and in this light wind with those big kites, the tacking is not really fast. So he could have figured something out here as he's about to hitting the beach here and going for another tack. Looking really nice here.
Yeah, we'll see what the damage is as he crosses here, but I'm gonna bet that he's gonna be doing pretty good here.
That looks like Kai Calder there on the orange, and then Evan on the blue.
Yeah, crossing really nicely.
Crossing everyone there for Marcus.
Yeah, that's a really nice lead, and it does look like he's on ley line, seeing those 4 kites lined up behind him. And it looks like he's going to be sailing into a little bit more pressure. You can see on the water there. And I think with these kites in light air, a little bit of pressure makes a huge difference with how much apparent wind that they're creating. In 6 or 7 knots of breeze, and they're going 20 knots upwind and 30 downwind. Just a little breeze change is going to be pretty huge. So panning back to the front of the race here.
Yeah, looks like that was Noah in that black kite coming up in fourth, and then Kai Calder in third with Evan in second. But Marcus definitely in the lead here.
Yep, Noah and Ryan are a little bit smaller than these top riders, and in this light air, they can use that a little bit to their advantage. But the top riders can be able to harness a lot more power than some of the smaller guys, especially as the breeze builds. So they can hold these 20 and 19 meter kites a little bit easier. So Evan going for that jibe again. Marcus looks like he's going to cover and try to just stay in between his competition and the leeward marks. So that's a really smart move by Marcus there. Woo.
Yeah, Marcus getting a little wobbly out of that jibe. Might have lost something. Looks like Kai and Evan had great jibes, and you can see that gap closing there. Marcus with that big turn up to regain that speed. He's definitely in the lead, but it could be closing here.
Yeah, you can definitely see a little light spot over on that right side looking upwind. We'll see how that kind of affects everybody, but it also could just be a little maybe oil stain on the water that makes it look a little bit lighter because that right side has been paying.
Remember, Marcus does have that smaller kite, so he could be fine upwind, but these downwinds are definitely going to favor those 21. So Kai and Evan ripping down with those 21 meters will look quite threatening to Marcus.
Yeah, and this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th looks pretty close between Ryan, Noah, and Will Sear.
Yeah, Ryan Satterberg really showing that he's the light wind master, definitely improving his results so far today if he can hold on to where he is now. He seems to be in front of Will here, who's definitely not slow, so good for Ryan now.
Yeah, we'll see if this camera angle... Okay, we're panning back. But yeah, let's see where everyone kind of shakes out here. But Ryan showing his local knowledge for sure.
That gap has definitely closed from that top mark. Evan just a few, maybe 1, 2, 3 seconds behind Marcus there, and going right into attack, and Marcus following him right away. That is a risky maneuver by Evan, but seems to be pulling it off. Not sure if it was the fastest thing to do, but Kai going straight could be looking for Kai here. Good for Kai here as he's didn't do that quick tack, and hopefully finding something on the left for him.
Yeah, maybe a little tough for Evan with that quick tack, which he is leading out, but he's now having to go through these downwind kiters, which is definitely a little bit tricky. But really nice maneuver to be able to be in this position out of a roundup into attack, which is really tricky on kites and really tricky in light air, especially.
Yeah, something we've noticed about this ley line, it's pretty easy for the kiters to make the ley line because they're coming out of that righty and they're kind of getting lifted on starboard. So it seems like the kiter on the hip going into the right is controlling the kiter farther to the right. So for Evan here, he's looking good, but he might not have a ton of freedom to do what he wants here as Marcus is controlling.
Yeah, that's for sure. And as much as tacking on somebody else in kites isn't a huge thing, it definitely, if you're in the right spot, it can be a big factor. And right now for Evan, if he is not able to hold this high lane, he's going to lose a lot of distance upwind.
Oh, and down goes Evan there. Not sure if that was a light spot or a kelp. He's pumping really aggressively to get back on his foil. And Kai right there, right behind him, uh, going for attack here. Evan might be a little bit more worried about third than first here as a big mistake by Evan. But
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have to. He's doing a little. Okay, back roll. You can see the kelp on his foil. That is not good. And Kai just cruising by here into a nice second place.
yeah, that's a big relief for Marcus as he was right in second place. But Evan hopefully can hold on to this third spot.
Yeah,
Big loss.
this is a big thing. Also, if Evan can't make this ley line, that's a loss. Well, yeah, looks like he's going to have to tack here. So that's another huge loss. And hopefully, fourth place isn't too close behind. And you can see this massive gap opened up for Marcus. So he should be able to play it cool and just sail at 80% and finish this race off nice and easy.
Yep, looks like we'll see Kai here in second place. There he is, looking good on ley line. Evan had to do that other tack, so we'll hopefully get a look at fourth and fifth place and see how tight it is for Evan in a second.
Yeah, definitely it looks like Kai was pinching a little bit for that top mark. You can see him not have a ton of power around that top mark, but Evan looks like he held on to third place and doesn't look like there's a ton of people behind him. I mean, Ryan Satterberg right there, but seems like a nice. Okay, he's going for the jibe set again, and this is Marcus up front again, nice and cruisy down to that bottom gate. Looks like he's going to just do a one jibe and in, avoid the seaweed, which seems to be building up on that right hand side of the course. And because he has that big lead, he can afford to lose a little bit of leverage, but make sure he's not going to fall. All right, where are we? We're finding our spot here.
That looks like to be Kai in second, and yeah, we can see that big lead for Marcus there. Not looking too threatened here as we're headed down to the finish line.
Yep, nice and cruisy, and he's gonna be stoked to take this race to win. And Evan looks like he's gonna be in third place or so. He decided to do that right hand turn, and Kai with a nice gap to third place too. So looks like the top three are going to be kind of cruising into their spots here. But yeah, nice.
Yeah, it seems like that going straight to ley line worked for Marcus and Kai. I don't know if Evan was getting a little bit desperate there going for the jibe set, but to me, looking pretty light on the inside right now and more kelp probably. So might have been better just to stay safe and stay on the outside.
Yeah, but with this battle for first place between these three or four kiters, every position matters. So definitely, I understand where Evan's coming from, trying to get that one place back. But also maybe sometimes a third place and just solidifying it is better than that fourth place, or fifth if you push it over into some seaweed and fall. But Kai in a nice second place here, followed by looks like Evan and then Ryan Satterberg behind him.
Yeah, that's a great result for Ryan again. Excuse me. He is right on the tail of Evan, so you can see that He's just barely off the pace there, and if those top guys make one little mistake, then he's there to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and that's two fourth place finishes for Ryan. Just an awesome start to day two, and taking his sweet time to cross the line here as well. But there's a full shot of our race course, and stay tuned for race 3 coming right up. All right, and we are back with race number 3 of day 2 in Santa Barbara at the Ledbetter Classics. And Evan Heffernan and Marcus Marcus looks like he's shutting the door on Evan. Evan fell off the foil and Marcus is away. That was a beautiful little start. I know the points are close. That Marcus must have been thinking about that. And that was a beautifully done start. And Evan is in a farther back than he's used to off the start. He's usually pretty clean off the start.
Yeah, Marcus is closing the door on Evan there. That was a pretty good tactical move there. And now he's following Evan to the right. As you can see, Evan tacked first. Definitely taking care of business here in race 3, Marcus.
Yep, and now he's covering again, keeping himself in between himself and that top mark. But definitely looks like there's a little lull out of that tack for him, and just now kind of regaining that VMG that he's used to having, and kind of gaining a little bit back. Looks like Evan had a really nice tack and was able to kind of sail through a little puff. And you can see this right shift just slowly ticking on the whole fleet. And I know they're the fastest out there, but definitely that shift is really helping them as well.
Yeah, Marcus looking in control here, but Evan, even after the bad start, looking okay here on that far right, digging into that righty, digging into that more pressure. And here he goes. He feels something, and he's going for that tack.
Yeah, and actually the left looks okay. I mean, Evan did start a little bit farther behind.
Yeah, it looks like that orange kite coming across is looking definitely in front of Evan and could be close here with Kai. It's gonna be, that is Kai on that coming back from the left. Could be close with Marcus on the right.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of pressure through that middle where Kai tacked. But there's this boat that's going to be definitely an issue for Kai, who has to give up a ton of boat lengths.
Wow, yeah, that is guess that boater didn't really know where he was going, but the kiters did, and they got around him pretty cleanly. Seems like Kai didn't really lose that much, and there's Marcus, Kai, and then Will there right in that line of 3, and then Evan maybe in a little bit of bad air here, but still right in touch with that top 3, looking okay.
Yeah, it looks like his kite's just in that clear air, and his foil's definitely clear of that foil wash. You can feel it pretty aggressively if you're in that trailing spot and you sail through that foil wash, because they are creating so much lift underneath that water that there's a lot of turbulence underwater.
Now leyline here is going to get tricky. Looks like Will and Kai are really squeezing up to Marcus, and I think they're all on leyline. That would be my guess, which is not great for Evan, but they're all going to be tight here.
Yeah, Marcus in first. Looks like Kai in second, and Will and Evan in third and fourth. But Evan's going to shoot the gap underneath Will. Again, having to pinch around that top mark is just not good for your next leg VMG.
Yeah, Will seems to, just like yesterday, he seems to be dialing in those upwind ley lines, but it's kind of hurting him as he doesn't have quite the speed around that top mark when he's on that higher angle on starboard. Looks like he lost quite a lot there on that rounding, and now Evan solidly in third place here.
Yeah, but Marcus, really nice top mark rounding, and then looks like he's been able to extend on this next downwind beat and definitely making some gains from that first upwind. But
Yep.
Looks like this pretty solid 1, 2, 3, 4 for these guys, kind of solidifying their spot on this downwind. Not many gains. It looks like Marcus is getting like a little bit of a lift here. And maybe they're all feeling that, or maybe that's just ley line here. But Evan being the first one out, trying to cut the distance and sail a little bit less distance on this downwind. But we know in light air with kites, if you're overstood, you can heat it up and go so much faster than the other guys.
Yeah, Marcus aggressively pumping his foil there. Definitely feeling underpowered here. Could be that 19 that's giving them the problems. Kai, looks like Evan is barreling down on Kai, and Kai, I think, is gaining on Marcus here. So maybe there's some pressure coming from behind.
Yeah, Evan is definitely not on lay, though. You can see as soon as anybody's pumping, that means there's not much pressure in the kite, and they're using just the foil underwater to propel them forward.
Yeah, just like it's not fast to understand on the upwind, it's not fast to understand on the downwind. And Evan seemed to be going fast on that down, but did not gain that last little bit, and now he has that kind of tight and wide rounding, which is not what they teach you.
Not at all, but it looks like again Marcus leading out to that. Oh, that's going to be a kite touch right there. Oh, that was not sure if there was a touch, but definitely threw off the look maybe Will Sear or Casey Brown maybe. Not sure who's on that fly surfer there, but that was a close one and definitely slow for Kai Calder. You can see how much he lost on that upwind, which opens the door for Evan and is a little frustrating for Kai for sure.
Yeah, definitely lost some distance there. Kai did. And now he's following Marcus into the right. Not looking like a lot of passing lanes here. Looking good for Marcus. I think he's going where he wants to go here.
Yeah, we'll see where Evan is. Evan's way out on the left. That is definitely either local knowledge or just doesn't want to follow the whole fleet over to that right-hand side. But we can definitely see a little bit more seaweed in the water from these drone shots. As the wind picks up through the day, there might be just a little bit more loose seaweed being blown around. Hopefully it doesn't get better hopefully it doesn't get worse throughout the rest of the day. But it does look like Marcus is going to hold on to this first spot.
Yeah, Evan doesn't look bad here, but I think Marcus does have the cross, and I would guess Evan's kind of fighting with Kai here more for a second place. Marcus looks like he's on his own game here. Definitely crossing Evan, but the left is not that bad. And unlike yesterday, you can tell that the cloud cover is more consistent throughout the land and the ocean. It looks like there's not a lot more sun off the coast. So maybe a little bit less left shift than there was yesterday, but hard to tell.
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely different days. Earlier wind for sure. And yeah, definitely less of a contrast in the skies. But we can see a little bit of cloud clearing in the background there, which is good for wind later in the day. Oh, Marcus, I thought he was going for a tack, but maybe that's a seaweed clear technique.
It looked like a fake tack or a seaweed clear, or maybe I was dodging something. But, Evan and Kai are right on his heels here. Evan just in front of Kai. Kai looking to definitely move up here on this last downwind, but Evan really fast on that top mark, leaning back into that foil, putting all the load into it, and getting nice and low compared to Kai on that top mark.
Yeah, but Kai has some wheels here, and maybe he is able to get over the top of Evan and kind of force a scenario in this corner. We'll see either where Leyline is, if somebody ends up going early and trying to do a two jibes into the bottom and get a shift. But right now it looks like they're going to Leyline.
Yeah, going to be kind of a gamble here on who wants to go first. If you go early, you might be under ley line and have to do more jibes. And if you go too late, the other guy might be able to go and get inside of you for the ley line. So definitely going to be kind of little game of chicken here.
Yeah, but if you're Evan, maybe the low lane is good and okay, he's letting him go, or it looks like Simo jibe here, just trying to stay in the same position and be able to have that ability to put the bow up and go faster here in front of Kai.
Yeah, Kai might have this overlap here, but Evan will be able to sail a higher mode as he's coming back to the ley line, which means he'll be able to sail a little faster. And there he goes. He's squeezing up in front of Kai there, maybe giving Kai some bad foil wash, and you can see Kai kind of slow down there. So good jibe for Evan there. Really good spot to go.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough spot for Kai. You can see in the bad air and bad foil wake, you can see Evan just create a little bit more distance for himself. But while those two guys are battling, Marcus is kind of just sailing away to this race 3 victory.
Yeah, Marcus pumping heavily right there, which means he's maybe a little bit shy on ley line. And Evan, if he's shy, then Evan will be also. So maybe a chance for Kai here to gain. But I think Kai just doesn't have quite the speed that Evan has right now. Evan is flying, almost gaining on Marcus here. Marcus putting up his kite early. It could be the sailboat might get in the way too. And
Evan going for the low lane, it looks
Evan
like.
was fully splitting, maybe seeing something in favor on the low lane. And this could get really close here. Evan making a huge push to Marcus at the very end. Can't see the pin end yet.
I think Marcus has got it.
Yeah, it looks like Marcus.
Wow, that was a close one. Really nice downwind by Evan and reach mark as well. And a solid third place for Kai Calder as well. So these points are definitely tightening up as we get on with the day. And this looks like another fourth place for Ryan Satterberg.
Yeah, Ryan just, best of the rest here. Coming into those fourth places, not too shabby, and he'll be stoked on that, I'm sure. And another race where Ryan is in front of Will Sear, which is surprising because Will is usually up in the top 3 battling for first. So Maybe
Yes,
something off with Will today. We'll see.
yeah, especially in the light air. Will's usually a master of that. But Hantos and maybe is that Noah or Gal? Not exactly sure, but this is a close one for Hantos. Looks like he's put a nice race together
Yeah, I
as
think that
well.
is Noah. Actually, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we need some numbers on the kites. I think that's the next thing for these kiters and these maybe kite foil league. But yeah, race 3 and hang on for race 4 coming up.
All right, we are here for race number 4. We'll have one more race before they head in for their break, for their lunch break. So this will be one more race and then on to the afternoon.
Yeah, you can definitely see it getting a lot. Oh, there's definitely some kite contact up there at the
Yeah,
boat end. Everyone is fighting for that
look
good
like
position.
look like Noah kind of holding everyone up there at the boat end. Definitely come off that line. I think Noah won that start there in the middle, that front black kite. He's looking really good. Marcus did not the best start, and Evan controlling Marcus just above. Ryan Seidenberg got a good start too, but he's going right away, and Evan's following him there.
Yeah, definitely Rubman is racing at the moment here. I don't think there's going to be any protests from that, but definitely it's going to be a tricky as the right becomes more and more favored for
Yeah,
all the kiters to be battling for that boat end.
Noah getting aggressive on that start, mixing it up with the big dogs, kind of pinching Marcus off, and now attacking right on him. We'll see if he has the speed to hold with Marcus because Marcus is the fastest out here. But good start for Noah there. And that orange kite on that left seems to be clear of all the carnage at the start. That looks like Kai Calder. He will be coming across looking pretty good.
Yeah, that was a really nice start by Kai. And actually, on that drone shot, Ryan Satterberg looked like he was cruising upwind.
Yep,
Maybe
there
lost
Ryan
a
is.
little bit there, but he was doing really well for a little bit. And Kai just putting the bow down and closing the distance over this right hand side, which is really smart to close that leverage when you know someone or one side is going to be favored, and all your competition is over there as well.
Yeah, Kai is staying out of the fray, and it seems to be working for him as Evan is tacking right there, coming back into the middle of the course. Marcus, yep, he'll go right there and lead him into the middle. Kai definitely crossing here though, looking really good, and yep, right on his face. That'll hurt Marcus and Will maybe. Actually, it's kind of more of a lead out, so still okay for Marcus and Evan there, but must be on ley line hopefully for Kai, and that's what he wants. So looking good for Kai here.
Yeah, but tough spot for Evan Heffernan right now. Just like right behind Marcus. We'll see if he can hold that position with bad air and some foil wake, which is another thing interesting about the kite lengths. If you have a shorter kite length on your bar, then your kite is farther upwind, even if you're right on the hip of somebody. Where Evan is definitely falling victim to some bad air.
Yeah, Evan losing a lot right there. I'm not sure if that was foil wake or bad air or kelp or something, but Marcus and Kai kind of holding their own there, and Evan falling back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Great shot of all three of those different colored kites. Easy to spot.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
Kai around the first mark in first, followed by Marcus, and Evan going for that jibe, kind of jibe set, as we call it in the sailing world, right away, jibing right on that top mark. And then here, Will Sear following. And looks like Will has quite a few competitors right behind him, too.
Yeah,
So he'll have to be looking over his shoulder also.
yeah, that next group is really tight right now, which is really cool to see. But these three are definitely showing what they got right now and just dominating these first couple races.
Yep, Kai with a really nice spot to go, controlling Marcus and Evan, not allowing any room for passing lanes here.
Yeah, as we come by this yacht club buoy, it's about halfway down the leg. Um, Definitely just seems to be a speed run right now over to this corner to the jibe point. But you can definitely kind of see some different puffs on the water, and maybe actually Marcus definitely has a really nice mode right now. It could be camera angle, but he was absolutely charging right there.
Yeah, Kai seems to be moving his kite up and down a little bit. Maybe he's feeling a little underpowered and looking for some more power by moving that kite around a little bit. Marcus, though, leaving his kite just dead still and ripping downwind. But from this drone angle, it doesn't look like Marcus gained that much on Kai, so maybe Kai figured something else out.
Yep, yeah, nice downwind run by Kai. Our mistake with the camera angle for sure. And Evan just hanging in there right there. So this is the classic right hand turn looking downwind. You are allowed to hit those bottom marks in kite racing, so that is not a foul. But these three coming out, and it seems to be the battle on who tacks first here.
Yeah, Evan with that little late bringing the kite down, losing a little speed, now having to go right again. He's going to be tacking right, threading that needle through the downwind kiters and the leaders tacking. Seems like yesterday a lot of the kiters were choosing that left-hand turn, but today seems like it's working out where they're choosing that right-hand turn and then tacking pretty quickly to get back to that right side. But Kai in control here on top of Marcus and Evan.
Yeah, and if you notice that the bottom marker on 4th through 9th place is really close as well, so it's a very, very cool race even if you're not in the top 3 at the moment. But yeah, Kai absolutely sending it right now and in a really controlling position.
Yep, it's still very tight though. Just one mistake could change it all right now. Hopefully we'll get a shot back of the 4, 5, and 6 here because that's looking close back there as well.
Yeah, but right now just a drag race over this right-hand side, calling your ley line, and hopefully it all works out.
Yeah, looking pretty easy for Kai here as he doesn't really have to call a perfect ley line, even though he is going before them right there. He must be confident, but he kind of could have just waited for them to go and gone right in front of them.
Yep, and with these apparent wind and speed advantage, you can overstand a tiny bit and build your speed by reaching back down to ley line.
Now looking back on the right side of your screen, you can see Ryan talking right on the same time as Will there, and Ryan putting his kite back up, which is odd. Could be some kelp, but Ryan and Will battling for 4th and 5th here.
Yeah, but just a nice stable reach into this top mark at the moment for these 3 guys.
Yeah, nothing to think about now for them. They're just full on, full speed, and just staring at that yellow mark.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what foils they're on, but it's pretty cool that they all have the same kite. So it is relatively one design at the moment, which you can see in their speed. There's not much in between these top 3 guys. So it is more tactics and bow handling and who gets that shift or that good start, which is really paying for Kai. If we remember back to the start, he was the one that was punched out and able to attack and control from the very beginning.
Looks like in the back, Ryan has fallen back a little bit, and Will is battling with that other fly surfer.
Casey Brown is the other fly surfer, I believe.
Yeah, he looks like he's having a good race. And then behind that is Noah and Hontos Villegas from Mexico. They are battling it out today. They seem to always be next to each other, so we'll look for that on the final downwind.
Yeah, it does seem whenever you kite race, you find whatever speed bracket you're in, and then you find the other person in that group, and you battle them pretty much all day, which is a really fun thing about kite racing.
Evan here deciding to go straight in 3rd place. Oh, just kidding. He's jiving right away following them. I thought he would go for a little more leverage, but maybe Kai chose another good ley line. Seems to be dialing it around the course today for Kai.
Yep, and if you have that speed, overstanding is really nice, and definitely not having to worry too much, where Marcus potentially has to worry, but we'll see as we get down to these bottom marks. But you definitely want that stable kite, as Quinn was talking about earlier. You can see Marcus's kite bouncing around a little bit. Not sure if that's because he's understood. Maybe that pumping is not good, so maybe ley line is exactly where Kai called it, and Marcus feeling the effects of going a little bit early.
Yeah, he should be okay here, but probably losing a little bit. But Evan doesn't look like he's coming in with that much speed, so Marcus will probably be comfortable in 2nd here.
Yep, and it looks like this is the pin end of the race course, and Kai's going to cruise to another 1st place. Really nice race by him. And followed by Marcus, followed by Evan. And then we will see who comes in 4th here.
Evan kind of never given up till the end here. Always seems to be pushing Marcus on that final reach leg. But Marcus will easily get that 2nd. Now looking back here, looks like that is that Casey or Will? Hard to tell. They're both on fly surfers. Looking close with Ryan Satterberg in that blue ozone right behind. Looks like that 2nd fly surfer is understood. Yep, they have to go for a jibe. That's a big mistake on them.
Oh,
and
no.
they fall. That's going to lose a lot of spots there. Looking like...
Yeah, Ryan Satterberg in 5th place.
And then Honto is taking care of Noah there for coming in for, looks like a 5th or 6th there.
Yeah, really tough for Casey there. It's so sad to do that on the very last downwind, but you definitely get pinned out by those kites that call a good ley line.
Ryan with a 5th place there, looking like a great morning session for him. And we are headed in for lunch, and we'll be out again for 4 more races in the afternoon. All right. We are here after the lunch break. In the afternoon of day 2, we will have hopefully 4 more races for the day. And sitting right now, Marcus Edegren and Evan Heffernan are tied on points with 12 points after 9 races. And then only 3 points behind them is Kai Calder with 15 points. So they are off here. That looks like a great start for Noah again. He won that last start, and it seems like Marcus and Noah won that start there, with Will maybe in that flight surfer getting away nicely to leeward of them.
Yeah, and with 4 more races, there's a lot to play for. But one thing to note, if we get to, I believe it's 13 races, which is the completing these next 4, we do get a third throw out. So that's definitely pretty big for Marcus, who, as we know yesterday, didn't complete 2 of the races. But we have Evan Heffernan again leading out to this right side. Marcus pretty happy controlling the fleet over on that left side, with Hontos and Ryan over here following Evan as well.
Now, something I'm noticing right away since before lunch, it's a little sunnier and windier now, and I think we can tell that those angles are a little bit higher. It looks like when they were underpowered in the morning, their angles get really low because they have to keep the bow down for speed, but now their upwind angles are a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. But you can also see this kelp that is definitely a little bit more. It's kind of starting to break free of the big kelp bombs, as all the kiters are calling it at the moment. But a smooth tack by Evan here. And we'll see how it kind of plays out over on this right
Ryan
side.
Satterberg just barely ducking Evan there, looking to be doing well on the right here. And it looks like Marcus is winning on the left, but it's going to be really tight between him and Evan. And then Kai Calder in that orange is going to be just behind both of them as well. So good start from Kai. Let's see who comes across here. Will it be Kai? Will it be Marcus or Evan? Looking like Evan here, but hard to tell.
And Marcus does have one more tack in him. So Evan with a nice cross here. Really nice, maybe not the best start, but able to capitalize it on that early tack out.
Yeah, Kai ripping by Marcus as he has kind of a slow tack and barely avoiding that big kelp patch Marcus. So good eyes on him.
Yeah, you can see Evan wobbly there. This kelp definitely starting to become an issue. Hopefully we can start figuring it out. Oh no, Kai Calder at the mark. Probably kelp, but that is not the best place to tack. He has not rounded the mark.
And Ryan doing a 360. Looks like everyone has kelp here. I wonder if it's the windier afternoon bringing that kelp down. There's another big crash at the bottom. That looks to be Noah. So hopefully Kai is okay. Looks like he almost hit that mark there.
Yeah,
I don't know if he didn't make ley line or hit kelp or something.
Yeah, and his board flew away too. So that is a disaster for Kai at the moment, especially being 3 points behind of the leaders at the moment.
Now Ryan Satterberg here did a 360 at the top mark, clearing kelp, and now is back in the 3rd place. So he really pulled that maneuver well, knowing how to get kelp off his foil after being kiting in Santa Barbara enough times. So he's looking really nice. But Evan off to the races, big lead for him as Marcus is closing into that 2nd spot.
Yeah, we saw Evan also do that back roll yesterday and gain a bunch of places back as well. So it might be the local knowledge of doing that little back roll is able to clear the kelp because your trailing edge is going through the wind first and able to blow off the kelp from your mast, which all the kelp right now is the seagrass, which doesn't break and is really hard to get off your foil. So maybe that's the local knowledge from Ryan and Evan at the moment.
Ryan staying in front of Will again in 3rd place, and then there goes Hontos in 5th going for that jibe. Evan coming on in 1st and immediately going for attack, controlling that right side.
Yeah, and it is a little bit windier, but I believe everyone is still on their 19 and 21 meters, so definitely the higher range of the bigger kites, but holding on to it, and you can use that power for that downwind. But yeah, another big split by these guys that are tied. It's definitely a gamble of right shift in seaweed or not a great shift but maybe clearer waters. So we'll see who comes out on top between Evan and Marcus at the moment. But they do have a massive lead over the rest of the pack at the moment.
Yeah, the right side does seem to have more kelp, but as you can see that current line up in the drone previously, that current line was a lot closer in to the right yesterday than it was today. So, but here Evan barely avoiding that kelp. Eyes definitely peeled on the water.
Yeah, the current line is a good call because the Leadbetter is that a little bit of a point above there, and the wind kind of wraps around it, and the current is also affected by it. So there is a big kelp patty up there as well, which probably as the wind blows, it blows it down. And this looks like a huge gain for Evan over here with this right shift. I mean, Marcus doesn't have a lot of competition behind him at the moment, but overall standings, this is a nice win for Evan if he can hold on through this kelp.
Yeah, here comes the tide line we were talking about earlier. Marcus hitting it now, and Evan about to hit it. So
Yeah, you can even see it from this tide angle here, where all the kelp seems to pile up at that tide line.
yeah, Evan looking a little sketchy around that top mark. I thought he was going to go for another backflip, but seems to be either riding with that kelp or not having very much. So kind of a tight lay line for Marcus there. Not the best rounding. Looking good for Evan here.
Yeah, but again, just like the jibe sets, the tack bearways are really tough on the kite just from building your apparent and keeping your apparent. But it looks like Evan's going to have a nice lead, followed by Ryan Satterberg with
Yeah,
another backflip. So maybe that's the local knowledge.
yeah, we saw there just for a second Will in the water wiping out, and then Ryan Satterberg doing a backflip, and now you can see Will doing another tack.
Yeah, Casey Brown and Will Sear there battling with the fly surfers.
Kelp definitely coming into play in the afternoon.
Yeah, that is for sure. We can see that current line, but Evan with a nice lead here coming down to this bottom gate or the pin end to finish. But definitely an interesting difference in their jibe. We haven't seen this big of a difference in where the people jibe. I know from day one they were complaining about the small marks and hard to see, but we did have bigger pins, so they should be able to find all of the ley lines. But it does look like Marcus is kind of sitting up a little bit and having to pump for it. So maybe there's a nice middle ground for the ley line, but Evan calling a nice and easy one, and Marcus trying to gain a little bit back.
Yeah, when you see that kite start to come a little higher, you can tell they're understood. Usually that will help them go a little bit lower mode compared to that kite right against the water.
Yeah, but this is Evan coming in cross for, I believe that's race 5 victory here, which is going to put him 1 point ahead of Marcus going into race 6.
Big win for Evan today. There. And here comes Ryan in third. After a great morning session, he's coming out and get a third, hopefully, if he holds on here in this 5th race of the day, which is a great result for him, taking Will and Casey again.
Yeah, really nice sailing by Ryan. Definitely one of our younger riders, and it's really cool to see him do well in this event in his home waters as well. And here we go, race number 6 of day 2. And again, it seems to be a battle for this boat end line, except for a couple stragglers down towards the pin who are probably just wanting a clear start by themselves and able to go fast.
Noah right at the boat there, again with that black kite, but then Evan and Marcus squeezing right underneath him to kind of come a little bit farther back and come in with a little bit more speed. Seems to be working for them. Noah getting a little bit too close to the line. So Marcus and Evan off to a good start.
Yeah, you could see Kai Calder hold back a little bit on the line, either that he was a little early or he thought the line was a little bit closer than it was, but it seems like an all-clear start. And Ryan Satterberg with a nice angle and speed leading out to this right-hand side.
Yeah, Ryan getting up to speed quickly and having that high mode and ripping into the right hand. He'll be looking good here. But the similar those 3 different colored kites in the lead again, Kai, Evan, and Marcus.
Yeah, they seem to have a stranglehold on this regatta at the moment, and it's really cool to see them really push hard and show what they got as the points tighten up. But we'll see how it all shakes out here. Ryan doing a really nice job at the bottom of your screen. We'll see how he comes across on that fly surfer up the 5th kite up your screen.
Yeah, still all to play for points-wise as we have 3 more races for the day if all goes to plan. As there goes Ryan, and Evan will follow that, followed by the other 2 leaders. So everyone kind of has the same idea of where Leyline is now.
Yeah, so it does seem like Evan's always in that 3rd position coming into this top mark, but probably just where he starts and his starting procedure there, where the other guys are able to kind of control when to tack on his hip. But obviously he's doing pretty well for the rest of the race, which is pretty cool. Kai waving at somebody up there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there.
Yeah, Kai in the lead, but he's been there before, so we see if he can hold on to that big kelp line. Wow, look at that.
Oh, that is not good. That is really tough to kite through.
Oh, and he goes down again. Kai could not find his way through that kelp. Down he goes, and Marcus now takes the lead, followed by Evan.
Yeah, that's not good. 2 races in a row. Definitely tough, and that's really
I
frustrating
mean,
for
look at
him.
all that kelp in the water. That is very hard to get through. Somehow, Evan and Marcus have been figuring it out, though, because they are clean and off in the lead.
Yeah, and
Marcus
Ryan.
there struggling, though. Kite high, a lot of wake off of his kelp, and he's really going up and down there. Evan seems to be clear and going fast. Marcus is putting his kite up in the sky. Looking sketchy there, but seems to be holding on okay.
Yeah, Evan somehow either riding better with it or somehow escaped clear. But we'll see how it pans out if we go back to a drone shot to see what happened. Oh, that was a quick jibe by Evan coming back across. Okay, Marcus definitely in the lead here. It's just a camera trick there. But yeah, definitely all to play for here.
Yeah, Marcus seeming to extend there, surprisingly, even though he didn't look like he was going full speed. So he's finding a way to keep the lead here.
Yeah, and as this breeze builds, it seems like the ley line is definitely opening up.
And Evan missing that ley line again, which is going to hurt him here. Marcus one jibe in and off to the races here. He's going to go for attack, I assume. Yep, there he goes, covering that left-hand turn from Evan.
Yeah, and now Marcus is going to be on top in a controlling position.
And Ryan Satterberg in third again, just being conservative, figuring out the kelp, and keeping his speed up, coming to some good races there. And that black kite in fourth, that might be Noah or Gal Zuckerman.
Yeah, and that's, I think, Kai Calder on that orange kite coming across in fifth. So he did get around the mark, it seems like. Not terribly. I mean, obviously not where he wants to be, but that's the name of the game when you're battling some kelp. But we'll see. Marcus in a very controlling position. Definitely in a nice spot for him at the moment. But you can see that right shift. Evan seems to be a little more bow down. We'll see if it kind of holds. You can definitely, the closer you get to land, the more the shift kind of starts. And back to the top mark with definitely some chaos up there still with all that seaweed. It's probably just sitting right there, which is really tough for all the competitors.
The middle of the fleet struggling here as Marcus is coming up to ley line. He might lap a few people here if they can't get around that top mark. So we'll see if that could cause a problem for Marcus here.
Yeah, but
definitely in control, definitely leading Evan here. And you can see Ryan Satterberg coming back from that left hand in a really nice third spot here.
Yeah, but as we know, the points right now is Evan 1 ahead, and now Marcus clawing back to tie it all up if things hold as they stand right now. But we can see this tide line and seaweed line again.
Yeah, so look at all that carnage there. Look at that seaweed line, that kelp line. So they are just threading the needle through that kelp, threading the needle through that. Oh, and Evan goes down. Didn't quite see every piece. He seemed to be pretty lucky today, but that did not go well for him. He got up really quickly, though, just now.
And able to get around the mark, which is usually the big danger of falling at the top mark. And Ryan Satterberg, another third place right now.
Wiggling his way around. He seems slow right now. That looked like to be Noah in fourth there in the black kite. There's a black kite just right in the way there. I'm not sure who that is, but that looks like could be Mike Martin there. But he must be dealing with some kelp.
Yeah, definitely some tough conditions for racers at the moment, but it is part of the sport and something that happens pretty much everywhere. There is kelp in a lot of sailing areas, so definitely tough. But this is going to be a close race between Noah and Ryan at the moment.
Yeah, Noah soaking low on Ryan here. Ryan going for a jibe, but I don't know if he has that starboard and on that port lane. And yep, he's ducking there. Big kite up. That was close. But Ryan, nice maneuver by Ryan, jibing early and getting that inside. But Noah will have that hotter angle coming back to the ley line as they head down to the finish line. So Ryan in the lead right now with Noah in third spot. This is a fight for third here.
Definitely. And that looks, I think that's a film crew or some news or something filming our racing as well. A little competition for the drone flying. But yeah, back to the racing here. We have Ryan, really nice, able to call that early ley line. No, not a ley line.
There's that gate mark, so they're going to have another jibe here. 2 more jibes, to be exact.
This is a 3-lap race.
That is interesting. This is a 3-lap race. They're going around that gate again and headed back upwind. So the battle is far from over here for Noah and Ryan.
Yeah, but this is one example of the kite or your line length, your bar length lines affecting where your kite is according to the other person's kite. You can see Ryan and Noah being all locked up, but their kites off by a pretty big margin. But here we get back to the leader, Marcus Edegren.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Evan here. Marcus is still in the lead. Um,
Slowing up for kelp, it looks like, Ryan, and that allows Noah to kind of crawl back into position
yeah,
for
Noah,
that jump.
Noah might be pinning him here, pinning Ryan here. And Ryan might not be able to attack, but Noah's foil is making a lot of wash. Hopefully for him, there's no kelp on it, but chances are there are.
This is definitely a battle at the moment, and a Simo tack.
Yeah, there's a stubborn tacker kind of saving Ryan there, giving him an excuse to go. Oh, wow. How did Ryan save that? He went fully down, big splash, but yeah, maybe he has some kelp here. Definitely slowing up. Noah extending into that third spot here. But Ryan saving it again, pulling some tricks out of his hat, and
Yeah, it does seem like if you can poke your wingtip free for a little bit, it'll slide the kelp off your wing, but that does not help for the mast, which may be what Ryan has been doing there.
yeah, this is anybody's game. And
there's
there's
Evan.
Evan. Evan seems to be falling quite far behind here. That orange kite there looks to be Felix. He is not on the same lap as these other blue and black kites, so he is not going to be racing these guys. But Evan falling way behind Marcus, getting kind of caught here by Ryan and Noah. But everyone is dealing with, look at that, Noah throwing his foil out of the water to try to get the kelp off.
Definitely a risky spot to do it, but it seemed to work, and he's around in third place at the moment.
Yeah, Noah seems to pull that off pretty well. And sitting in third here with Ryan struggling to hold on to Noah's speed here.
Yeah, and Evan, not great angle, which might mean he's dealing with some kelp as well. And it looks like Noah's able to kind of close the gap a little bit and make it tough for Evan to. Yeah, Evan losing a lot of gauge there. You can see that blue kite on their top right hand of your corner.
Yeah, see, there's some major speed on Noah and Ryan, or Evan is slowing up for some reason. So we'll see. This might get really tight here as it's a fight for second place.
Yeah, Evan going there, and Noah, beating into the jibe. This is definitely made it close for the finish here if they're on ley line.
Yeah, Evan will have that nice angle coming in, but Noah, if he called the right ley line, he will be looking good here. And Ryan definitely falling behind a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough for Ryan battling around the entire course there with Noah, but Noah with that little kelp clear at the top really showing some speed. And Evan coming in, we'll see where they end up around this bottom mark to the reach to the finish.
Yeah, Evan with that low kite right on the water. And
Yeah.
Noah's kite a little bit higher. So.
Yeah, and this is big for the overall standings if Evan can get Noah here. Yeah, it is close.
Not sure where that bottom pin is. They will be finishing here, unlike the last race. Yep, and Noah has that second spot. Both putting their kite up.
Oh.
Noah splashing down. Evan going above him, which is an interesting move. Not sure if he'll be able to get over.
Yeah, both of them pushing
his
hard.
Kite is in front. That was a weird trip there, but Evan has his kite in front and just barely getting over the top of Noah. That's a big point for Evan there. Really good for him to hold on to that. But Noah, great race anyways, getting the third spot there.
Yeah.
And Ryan, a fourth, which is not bad.
Yeah, that was an exciting finish and nice job for Evan to hold on to that point. That's going to be pretty big. And it looks like Casey in fifth place. All right, welcome back. This is the second to last race of the day, I believe. It looks like Marcus and Evan having another little battle at the boat with Noah, and I believe that is maybe Mike Martin on that black kite underneath the red helmet. But nice start by those top three at the top right there. Marcus and Evan being able to lock into that speed mode really quickly where Noah got a little left behind there.
Yeah, Marcus had a pretty a start with not very many people around him, so he'll be able to kind of go where he wants and have the mode that he wants here. Could improve from here.
Yep, definitely. And it looks like the breeze is built a little bit more. And this is the fleet holding out to the left-hand side. The first time we've kind of seen this all weekend. But little bit. It looks like they did take some time to adjust the bottom gate or start line as well. So it's a little bit longer race. It's not going to be 3 laps around. And again, these three of Evan, Marcus, and Kai are in the top three yet again. So Marcus and Evan tacking out. There's a little bit of maybe a jet ski in the way. But yeah, nice and close here for Evan and Marcus. Marcus's kite literally on top of Evan.
Yeah, Evan looking like he had some good speed here, crawling up into Marcus, but definitely pretty even here for them two. And then Kai, you can see with that orange kite in the middle, looking really strong.
Oh, Evan going down.
Big, yeah.
You can definitely see like that's the cost of pushing really hard. Is sometimes you make those little mistakes, but lucky for him, not too much of a loss. And we have the two fly surfers of Casey and Will up on that high side of our screen there, having to duck that little cruiser boat. But Kai in a really commanding position, and Marcus heading over to this favored side of the course.
Yeah, you can see that fly surfer that on the left just went down. They were looking really good too with Kai, but they are falling back quite a lot. And tacking, you can see before that kelp line, Marcus kind of not a great tack there, definitely falling off the foil for a second. Evan kind of having a really good tack and climbing back there, looking pretty good on Marcus. Big gains for Evan there. That'll be really helpful overall for him. And then,
No.
Marcus going down. Wow, Marcus completely stopped here, losing a massive amount, and now Kai and Evan are on their own. That was a huge turn of events there for Evan, going from falling behind himself to now back into second.
Yeah, and Marcus doesn't have any throwaways. So this is definitely going to be a time for him he needs to crawl back and get a good position out of this. But here's Kai Calder coming to the top mark. He's had two disaster top marks here. Let's hope he can make it around this one and have a good race. But Evan in a close second, and seems like I think that's Will Sear behind in third.
Yeah, let's see if Kai can hold on this race. He's had a few unlucky times, but looks like they might be under ley line. Evan going for attack and also Kai going for attack. That will make things interesting here.
Yeah, so they might be avoiding this right-hand side with all the kelp a little bit more than they have been. But it does look like they were just not that far overlay. So.
Yeah, all those three kites behind Evan, Marcus, Ryan, and Will here will be under ley line. There goes Will tacking and ducking Marcus just there. Marcus going for attack now, and Ryan will follow him. There he goes.
Yeah, but 1 and 2 have a nice little gap. And Kai, let's see if he makes around this top mark. He does. That's great news for him leading this race, which he has been leading a ton.
Evan, big backflip there, clearing that kelp like he normally does. But Kai extending once he done that because Kai did not have to clear any kelp. And Ryan, really nice upwind for him, going from almost fifth off the line to now into third. Just really not making very many mistakes today for Ryan. And Marcus in that yellow kite is down again. He has a ton of kite right behind him too, so he's going to be struggling.
Yeah, and Ryan extending over into this free patch of water over here again without much kelp. And this is a longer downwind run, so we'll see if this is going to play a factor at all. But this is Evan in the middle of your screen, or Kai. Kai now, we can kind of see that gap. And Kai doing an amazing job on this downwind and a huge lead he's built, which is just awesome to see for him after struggling for a couple races there.
Yep, Kai definitely where he wants to be, and Evan looking pretty good here overall points-wise for him, as Marcus has fallen quite far behind.
Yeah, you can see nice pressure where Kai is and maybe a little bit lull over where Evan is. Definitely, even though one side of the course is favored, it does not mean there's some pressure on the other sides of the courses. So there's gains to be had pretty much wherever you are on the course. But right now, we should be getting close to the bottom marks, but they have not jibed yet, and we just can't see them, so we don't exactly know where they are.
Yeah, they have definitely moved the course down, maybe to try to get out of that kelp area for these final two races. So hopefully that will help them a little bit, but they're going quite a long way here on that downwind.
Yeah, and it looks like the rules state that we need about 12 to 15 minute races, and our last couple races have been about 10 minutes or under. So the length of the course with the increase of breeze is definitely needed.
Kai here. Let's see what mark he goes to. Looks like he might just going for that right-hand turn here.
Yeah, but definitely losing a lot of speed here, and Evan's going to come in with a bunch of speed, so that's definitely a little bit of a loss, but he's definitely in a really commanding position here, and here we should be able to see that lead.
Yeah, and there's Ryan Satterberg in a commanding third, looking great for him, and that looks like Will in fourth, right behind Ryan. Seems like they've been locking that spot, and there is finally Marcus after losing a lot. Hard to tell from this angle, but he's going for another jibe, probably rounding that right gate. And then that orange kite there, not as close to Marcus as we thought with that other camera angle. Marcus seems to be in a pretty comfortable fifth here. Not a lot of challenges from either side.
Yeah, but the top three have definitely closed up a little bit. Kai giving a little bit of advantage away from that slow lured mark, but tacking to cover here. And it looks like Will Sear maybe getting a little shift over there and closing up the gap yet again. We will see it usually this far down. The right's not as favored until you get farther up the beach.
And
towards
there goes
Ledbetter.
Kai clearing that kelp. He's lost a ton. He looks very even with with Evan now. So Kai struggling with the kelp today. Seems to be doing fine when he's not hitting kelp, but he's failing to avoid it as much as Evan. So looking pretty tight here for first.
Yeah, definitely gave up a little bit of distance here. We'll see how this corner shakes out with Ryan Satterberg's kite kind of poking in over there as well. So he is definitely not out of it either. But here's a nice shot dead on of Evan. You can see maybe a little header there. He was pointing right at us, or maybe just a little didn't handle that pressure quite as well as he'd hoped to. You can definitely see if they make mistake kind of drifting sideways, whether their wingtip pokes out or whatnot, or they don't handle the kite correctly. But Kai having a really nice run after clearing kelp and seems to have gained back what he lost by clearing it, which is seems to be the name of the game. It's like when do you clear and when do you keep pushing through it.
Yeah, and Ryan here looking fast as well. Evan might be a little bit off the pace here as Ryan and Kai are both moving quite quickly here into that right corner.
Yeah, Kai taking this early tack out and a little wobble there.
Definitely struggling, and he's barely hanging on there. Definitely kelp.
Yeah, definitely time to clear kelp. Looks like he's going to do that, but
and Kai's completely come to a stop here. This is another heartbreaker for Kai. He's been leading 3 races in a row, and just can't quite hold on. So we'll see how Evan comes out of this. But Kai got a little tangle in his wingtip, and here comes Evan ripping over the top.
Yeah, it's definitely once one thing goes wrong, it seems like everything else goes wrong. So tough day for Kai for sure. But Evan and Ryan in a solid 1-2, it looks like. And I don't believe this black kite is on our race course at the moment, or on our lap at least. But yeah, really nice sailing by Ryan Satterberg and Evan Heffernan right now, just to stay nice and steady. And looks like Marcus clawing back in our screen as well into third place.
Yeah, the two Santa Barbara boys here in first and second, showing that they know how to deal with the kelp and the wind. So looking really good for Ryan here, and Evan is definitely in the lead. Evan kind of bouncing up and down there for a little bit, and barely missing a lot of that kelp line right there.
Yeah, we definitely see it picked up. We can see a winger in the background. They're not riding, but definitely some pressure increase, and down goes Will in the back. So maybe this is a chance for Marcus to get into third place, which it does look like he's going to be able to do. Another little backflip by Evan, and away he goes into first place here. But Marcus back into third place after a pretty disastrous first up win, being 6th or 7th.
Yeah, this is a big point for Ryan here because he is getting a point in between Evan and Marcus. So Ryan mixing things up in the top.
Yeah, big point for Evan, you mean. Definitely this would be a huge thing for Evan if he can keep Ryan in between Marcus. But Marcus is fast downwind, and you know that he is able to push really hard when he wants to. So this is a time for Marcus to really push and let it all out.
Yeah, right now I feel like the gap is closing between Marcus and Ryan here. Evan not going really fast right here, but he doesn't feel threatened right now by Ryan, so he might just be kind of a little bit more conservative here, holding on to that first spot and not pushing too hard. So Marcus extending while Ryan goes early. This could get interesting if Ryan is under ley line because Marcus could do one less jibe than Ryan. So we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think if Ryan's not on this, it's definitely a big opportunity for Marcus to get in there. But here are the top two going pretty well. Those two blue ozones out in front, which is pretty cool to see at the moment. But definitely, you can see the little whitewash off the back of their foils from either ventilation or something. But splitting that boat right there. We'll have to see when we pan back, where Marcus ends up here, or if they're on lay. And Marcus is clawing back. We'll see where everyone ends up at this pin end. But Marcus absolutely hauling right now.
Yeah, Ryan will have the starboard advantage when he jibes back if he's not on lay line. But right now, I don't think he's going to hold on to this. Marcus is flying downwind, gaining a huge amount on Ryan, and Evan seems to be picking the pace up again, feeling the pressure from behind. So not looking great for Ryan for the second place, but you can't blame him because Marcus is really fast downwind.
Yeah, doesn't look like Ryan's going to be able to get this. And this is another, seems like both these guys are just throwing punches and being able to do what they need to be doing. And as soon as one person wins it, the other person wins the next race. And Evan just passed Noah to stay 1 point ahead, and now Marcus is going to claw back and get that point back. So I believe they should be all tied up going into this final race of the day.
Yeah, Marcus getting around Ryan, even with Ryan's best efforts there. So that is tough for Ryan, but good for Marcus. So
yeah, and really nice race for Ryan, and really nice day. He's put together a bunch of 3s and 4s, which is really awesome for him.
All right, so it looks like points are very tight, and we will have those to you soon. So stay tuned for the final race of the day.
All right, and we are back for the final race of the day, the event, and the series. I believe the points stand that Marcus and Evan are tied, and it is going to be a who beats who in this last race. Evan right now not on foil coming into this start, and Marcus on the line there. It looks like a tough start for most of the fleet there, and Evan is second row right behind Marcus and pinned in as well. This is not a great start for Evan, and a really nice start for Marcus.
Yeah, you can see Noah right at the boat, giving Evan a hard time there. Not the start Evan wanted in this kind of do or die final race for the whole series. So we'll see how this pans out. Will in that fly surfer and Marcus in that yellow ozone looking like they're off to a good start.
Yeah, and Evan is pinned in by Noah at the moment and falling farther behind to Kai here as well. So it looks like Marcus and maybe Will Sear over there are in 1-2, followed by Kai and then Evan or Noah. But definitely a tough position for Evan at the moment. And Marcus exactly where he wants to be, in front of Evan, controlling the fleet, going the way that he wants to go at the moment.
Yeah, Noah falling back, but I think he still has Evan pinned, giving Evan a tough lane here, right behind Kai, maybe getting some bad air from Kai there. And Kai right behind Marcus, maybe getting bad air from him. So I think besides Marcus and Will, everyone else is in kind of a tough spot here. That looks to be Ryan on that far left blue ozone kite. He seems to be having some speed, keeping up with these really fast guys in the front.
Yeah, but definitely as it goes on, Evan just slowly giving away board lengths, and Marcus just holding on to that position. Marcus is not going to tack until Evan tacks, I believe. But Will Sear also putting in some good speed down below as well, and he should be in the mix for these top 4 and top 5 guys.
Yeah, Will has been quiet today, but hopefully for him this last race he can finish with a bang. So looking good for him right now. And there goes Evan for a tack finally. He'll be happy to get out of that spot.
Yep, and it looks like Marcus letting him go at the moment, or going there, but giving Evan a little bit of sunlight. So we will see if that hurts him at all. But at the moment, going towards that right-hand side, which we've known has been pain all day. But Marcus in a very commanding position too, followed closely by Kai and Will.
Yeah, Will definitely staying left. Maybe he's trying to stay out of the kelp, but looking like he doesn't have quite the pace that Kai and Marcus do right now, and they are definitely in first and second here. But Evan trying to hang on to that front group, trying to hang on to his regatta here, giving it everything he has right now into that right-hand corner.
Yeah, definitely. This is a time to be pushing 100%, give it your all, and see where the cards lay. But right now, Marcus and Kai in a commanding position. Hopefully, Kai can put this race together after a struggling day and just being a couple points behind the leaders and just not being able to finish out races. But let's fingers crossed that he has a good one here. So Marcus going for attack here, and it looks like Kai's going to let him go. Or no, sorry, he's going to lead bow. Maybe he's just waiting a little bit to get up right in front of Marcus there, and Will going in front again, which is another not a great place for actually Evan being able to crawl back right there, and Marcus going down. So this is definitely close, and with Evan or Mark, excuse me, Kai and Will out in front, this is definitely going to put some difference in between, or maybe some boat lengths in between Evan and Marcus. But Marcus with a really nice slingshot around that top mark, getting in front of Will, and Evan's going to go for that early jibe and try to get a little shift over there, where Marcus is again letting him create a little bit of space in this really close final battle.
Yeah, I feel like again Will with that tight lay line, kind of struggling on that rounding to find that low mode, and Evan, I'm not sure if he was up to full speed before he did that jibe, and that lack of apparent wind could hurt him here, as I feel like the three leaders were full speed by the time they did their jibe. So we'll see if Evan will lose or gain or stay the same here.
Yeah, that's true, but looks like he hit a little something there, a little wobble. We'll see how that pans out, but right now it does look like he's in good speed. It is the camera playing tricks on him going a lot faster at the moment. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a huge angle difference. Wow, right there. I'm not sure if that is pressure or just the way that Evan is sailing here, but
Yeah, it could be a little bit of kelp ruining his apparent wind, but those three down at the left hand of your screen are definitely far ahead of Evan at the moment, which is not good for Evan at the.
yeah, Kai holding on to that first spot, looking good. Marcus in second, I think here, and Will just barely tied with Marcus there. But Evan really falling off the map here.
Yeah, and Marcus is definitely just going to be very content in finishing second or third here as long as Evan is behind him. But as we all know as competitors, that we like to win the last race of the day when it's do or die.
Yeah, that had to be a pressure difference there because Evan just completely falling apart here, and a lot worse VMG, and even Ryan Satterberg in fifth here, looking like he's coming pretty close to Evan, looking like he's catching Evan here. So Simo drive by Kai and Marcus there, Will following. Let's see what gate they round. Look like Will is going to that left-hand gate. Good ley line call from him, and the other two, Kai and Marcus, going to that right-hand gate.
Yeah.
Kai still in the lead though.
Yeah, it's going to be a split, and that's Ryan Satterberg on that blue kite, followed by Evan there. So not a good downwind by Evan at all. And it looks like he's going to make that mark, but he's got a lot of distance to catch up if he wants a shot at this.
Yeah, Evan might be dealing with some kelp or something, but he definitely not his usual self here with that top speed. So we'll see what happens the rest of the race, but not looking good for him right now. Definitely time to get desperate.
Yeah, definitely. Will Sear coming back across the middle of the course following.
Now it looks like on that left side we just saw Evan is in the water and has fallen off the foil. So things going bad to worse here for Evan as Marcus and Kai are screaming to the left of the side of the course.
Yeah, and Will looks like he was ladder rung even, but maybe Kai's edging out over on that left-hand side of the course without Seaweed being able to push at 100%. Marcus, though, very content at where he is. He does not need to win this race. He just has to finish in front of Evan, which he is clearly doing at the moment.
Yeah, Marcus probably wanting to go back. Even though Evan's pretty far behind, he wants to not split with him too much. So tacking back kind of early, and Kai,
yeah,
dealing with that downwind kiter maybe, having to avoid that kiter. So he looks to be okay though.
Yeah, definitely lost a little bit right there. It is a windward leeward, but sometimes it's better just to save yourself, let the person go in front of you, and be able to finish your race than maybe win the protest, but you're out of the race. And for Kai, I think right now it's just try to get a little revenge on the Seaweed maybe, and try to win this race for to go out with on a good note after a tough day. But Marcus in a commanding position. We'll see where Will Sear comes back on when this drone pans around. But right now, Kai in first, Marcus in second, and it looks like, Will Sear back there doing a little back roll to clear the kelp in third.
Yeah, no signs of Evan now. which is tough for him. But actually, there he is behind Marcus. But I think that angle looks like he's pretty far behind there, coming back to the left. Marcus will probably think about going soon. And there goes Kai looking to be on ley line. Nice tack from Kai there, getting full speed. And Will definitely doing that little backflip, falling back a little bit. Not sure what Marcus is doing. He seems to be extending a little bit farther than Kai there. Maybe just being a little more conservative, which is not Marcus's MO, but he may be learning from his past.
Yep, but he's nice, solid ley line here. It looks like Kai's going to be hopefully on ley line here, but we'll have to wait and see. Kai definitely a little bit of gain there. Maybe Marcus had to clear some lead or something, but Kai in a nice position here, and it looks like Marcus is putting the bow down, so I think Kai is on ley line.
Yeah, Kai with nothing to lose here. So we can definitely call that tight ley line and rip it all in. But Marcus playing it safe like he should here. I'm not worried about Kai too much winning this race.
Yeah, that is for sure. And Kai with a nice second upwind here and rounding the last downwind here in first place. And a beautiful shot there from right above. But Marcus coming around here in second place, it looks like. Yeah, there he is. And we should be able to follow him back downwind. But it looks like a big gap to third place and no sign of Evan either. So if Marcus is able to hold this position, he wins the event and the series.
Yeah, tough second upwind for Will also, who's fallen, might still be in third here, but has fallen back quite a lot. So here is Marcus screaming downwind to the final downwind of the event. And there's Evan, looking like Will and Ryan Satterberg are in front of Evan. So Evan has some major gains to make on this last downwind if he wants to save his regatta.
Yeah, but Will and Ryan having a nice little battle back there. But Kai in a nice position going into this maybe last jibe there, coming into this final reach.
Yeah, Kai looking pretty comfortable here, pushing hard, but
yeah, and Marcus just able to push hard and not make any mistakes, and this event is his. So it does look like he's going pretty fast though right now. So as slow as you want to go, it's definitely Evan's going to be pushing hard behind. So he's got to kind of weigh the options, but it looks like he's going to be just okay at the moment. But Kai holding his lead right now and should come across the line in first place here.
Yeah, not sure if they're on ley line quite yet. Might have another jibe to go, but in third and fourth, hopefully we'll pan back here. There's Evan going for another jibe. Not sure where he is right now, but I think he's around fifth or sixth.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where Ryan and Will end up here, which maybe they'll cross the screen pretty soon. But back to our leaders here, where Kai holding his gap and showing that he has the speed and the skill to win these races, and just tough luck today. So
looks like they are going to be on ley line here, which is a pretty good call from that far out. So Kai coming around that final reach mark, final pin, and Marcus cruising behind him, not in any hurry here.
Yeah, and that's a very nice way to end your regatta from Kai after a little bit of a frustration. And Marcus going to come across in second, which is enough to win the event.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the final scores, but we believe that is Marcus winning the entire series, taking the Long Beach event, and there he goes.
Wow.
A little celebratory flip there from Marcus, so well done.
That was extremely smooth. Way to finish the event, and congrats to Marcus. But we are 90% sure he won the event. But nice sailing and a very cool event.
Yeah, good way for Kai to end that last race, and hopefully we'll look back at Ryan and...
it looks like Will got Ryan there. Yeah. But really nice sailing by Ryan Satterberg, putting a full day together in some solid positions.
Yeah, and here come even Noah got around Evan there, so tough race for Evan, tough way to end it, but he did have those consistent scores throughout the regatta, so he should feel good about that, and definitely shown he can be at the fastest out here as well.
Yep, so second place for Evan Heffernan there in the regatta.
Yep, second in the regatta for Evan and second in the series. And third in the regatta?
I don't know. All right, thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next time at the Kite Foil League. regattas. And give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the racing today, or you liked the commentary or the video. So if you like something, let us know. If you didn't, keep it to yourself. All right, thank you guys. See ya.
And Evan's out.